Well, residents near the site of a train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, are being urged to evacuate immediately due to risk of an explosion. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tori McGee. Governor Mike DeWine has also issued a warning for anybody living within a mile of the train derailment to evacuate after what officials called a drastic temperature change in one of the rail cars. Around 9 Friday night, about 50 train cars crashed and caught fire right by the Ohio-Pennsylvania line. The National Transportation Board says 20 of the cars involved were carrying hazardous materials. Authorities say a change in one of the cars carrying vinyl chloride could very soon cause it to release toxic gas or even explode.
This catastrophic failure will, if it occurs, it will produce hydrogen chloride and phosgene gas into the atmosphere. We are working with several federal agencies to determine a plume cloud for that. We may need at some point in the near future to extend our mile radius out based on their professional recommendations and the models that they run.
From a law enforcement standpoint, we're at the point where we need you to leave. There could be possible charges if you choose to stay, misconduct in an emergency, or if you have children in your house, child endangering, and that will be enforced.
The Ohio National Guard has been activated to help local authorities. Ohio State Highway Patrol, Ohio Emergency Management Agency, and the state EPA are also assisting.